Just yesterday, unfortunately, we were made to hear some truly outlandish and quite frankly delusional statements from the President of the United States of America, delusional, when he declared and indicated that the supposed naval blockade was being established in the waters of the Caribbean with a deployment, as he himself has said, unprecedented of his Navy, the United States Navy, in Caribbean waters. This is a space intended for cooperation, for free trade, and for free navigation. It is not a space closed off to the interests of the United States.
Venezuela has issued a fierce warning after the United States announced a total blockade on sanctioned oil tankers. Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez condemned U.S. President Donald Trump's declaration as an act of piracy. Speaking in Caracas, he said the Venezuelan military rejects any threat of armed action or naval seizure. Padrino stressed the dispute is about oil and natural resources, not drugs or criminal networks. The blockade was announced by Trump on Truth Social, alongside branding the Maduro government a terrorist entity. Washington warned the impact would be unlike anything Venezuela has faced before. Caracas dismissed the claims as incoherent and accused the U.S. of preparing a dangerous escalation. The defense chief urged international scrutiny, warning global energy security is now at risk. Venezuela says it will not allow its oil to be stolen under threat.
Just yesterday, unfortunately, we were made to hear some truly outlandish and quite frankly delusional statements from the President of the United States of America, delusional, when he declared and indicated that the supposed naval blockade was being established in the waters of the Caribbean with a deployment, as he himself has said, unprecedented of his Navy, the United States Navy, in Caribbean waters. This is a space intended for cooperation, for free trade, and for free navigation. It is not a space closed off to the interests of the United States. Strictly adhering to the orders issued by our Commander-in-Chief, this is all about oil. This is all about our natural resources. It's not drug trafficking. No, it's not that at all. It's not the criminal gangs either. Absolutely not. No, no, no. Nothing of the sort. That's an utterly implausible and completely worn out narrative that simply crumbles and falls apart under its own weight. It has fallen apart by itself in international public opinion. No one believes that, much less the people of Venezuela here. So the truth has emerged. And when it truly comes to the truth, we cannot describe it or qualify it in any other way but as a resounding victory for Venezuela.
Mr. Trump has stated that we are the thieves, that we have stolen the oil that lies beneath our very own land, but which they insist belongs to them.
What is something completely inconsistent, incoherent, if not this great homeland, that concept of the great homeland. So, we are looking at this as a dangerous action by U.S. imperialism that the international community must carefully study, observe, and take decisive action upon, because it doesn't just threaten and attack the entire region, specifically all of Venezuela, but it also impacts the entire Latin American and Caribbean region, and consequently, the stability of global energy supplies is put at severe risk. The stability of global energy. And then what will become of international law in this situation? That is what I am asking the entire world. What about international law? What about the Charter of the United Nations? What about the entire international legal framework? The international legal order has been completely thrown out, discarded like trash. It simply does not exist. In this current juncture, this new juncture of aggression against our sovereignty, our homeland, and international law, the Bolivarian National Armed Forces emphatically and unequivocally rejects the outrageous and delusional statements issued yesterday, Tuesday, December 16th of this current year, in which insolently it threatens our nation with armed actions and orders a supposed total naval blockade to confiscate vessels transporting Venezuelan oil, an act which constitutes a blatant act of piracy. Even in light of the betrayals perpetrated by the oligarchies, the accusations that have been formulated prove to be entirely fanciful and utterly incoherent, for they quite unusually claim that we have stolen their oil, their lands, and various other assets, which is completely and demonstrably false, and thus thoroughly unmasks their utterly implausible narrative. From combating narco-terrorism, also revealing the perverse intentions planned since the start of the bellicose escalation mid-year, even despite the betrayals of those who failed to grasp the scope of Bolivar's historic project. This constitutes a re-edition of the Monroe Doctrine, which establishes the neo-colonial dominance of the hemisphere by the United States. In addition to what was previously mentioned, these aforementioned claims flagrantly violate the Charter of the United Nations regarding the respect for the sovereignty of states and the resolution of international disputes. Through peaceful means, the established laws of international commerce, the Geneva Convention regarding the high seas, and all other relevant principles of international law, effectively going beyond even the traditional gunboat diplomacy. So, Bolivar, for us, this represents a victory, but it is also a profound commitment. We are truly lovers of peace. We are lovers of peace, but the truth has prevailed. All this military aggression, this aggression that has now escalated to be military, is a military siege. An old military strategy, after all, the siege. It's for no other reason but for our natural resources. And they don't want it unless it's stolen. Because they don't even want it through the channels of legality. They don't want it through legitimate and lawful trade. They want to steal it from us, quite literally, and we will not permit that, plain and simple. We are always loyal.
The United Nations has urged restraint amid rising tensions over Venezuela. According to the UN, Secretary General Antonio Guterres is focused on preventing any escalation.
What the Secretary General is focused on is avoiding any further escalation. The Secretary General calls for restraint and for the immediate de-escalation of the situation. He calls on all stakeholders to honor their obligations under international law, including the UN Charter and any other applicable legal framework to safeguard peace in the region. And, of course, as always, he believes that any difference must be resolved by peaceful means. The Secretary General is following the current situation very closely, and he is engaging with relevant parties. Right now, what we're trying to do is make sure that all parties, including the United States, abide by the Charter, including the relevant passages that you've cited. What our concern is anything that further escalates the situation. We want any escalatory steps to be avoided. At this stage, it's critical to continue diplomatic engagement and pursue a peaceful way forward through dialogue.